All right, Jackie, keep them off that way.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, good morning. Allow me to introduce Mr. Raul Damas, the newest Rotarian in our team. Raul was born in Cuba and came to New York long time ago, in the 60s at the beginning. And he joined Pfizer in 62 and left Pfizer as a full retiree in 2000, practically after 40 years working as the leader in business technology in 32 countries working over there, receiving the love and respect from all of our employees, including myself. I was reporting to him 25 years ago, more or less. And he was the guilty person that brought me here. If you need to complain about me or anything, go through him.
All right.
Therefore, he got in the 60s also with honors and awards, a Bachelor in Arts in New York. And after that, working in Pfizer and after the degree, he started his volunteer activities, working as a volunteer for the Boy Scouts of America, leader of them, for United Way Day in Economic Independence Council, in the Cuban Cultural Heritage Board of Directors here in Miami. Work also as a United Way of three states, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, in the Board of Directors in 1995. And is a US Army Reservee, and now part of our team. The Camino de Santiago. We have another expert here of the Camino, not expert, but can comment something about that is Ines, and a gentleman that also has a carrying knowledge about that. Therefore, will be a conversation. Good morning.
Good morning. How did I start with this thing called the Camino? I used to read the New York Times, stuff with the New York Times on Sundays, and the travel section had an article about this place in northern Spain where people start walking. Why walk? Why not run? They got interested in that, frankly. I have done about 5 Caminos. We call Caminos. I'll explain later on what a Camino is. Actually, it's not a Camino. They are different Caminos. It's the moment that you actually leave your home. That's you start the Camino that way. And actually, we use that as a metaphor for our life. I think our challenges that we face every day, etc. What are the seeds of what are the beginning? What is this idea of the Camino that comes out? By the way, there is not only one Camino. There is not just one set. There are many Caminos. And I have seen people, I have worked as a volunteer at the cathedral, where you have people from all over the world, from every religion. I recall one particular one, which was a US Air Force pilot in Germany. He had a couple of weekends free, so he says, I'm going to walk the Camino. So you find people from every way of life, you might say. So you could see can you go back, please? Yes. Actually, that is a very net representative of the Spain, as well as the southwest of Europe and Britain. But you could see that what I was saying before, you have coming from everywhere, from Berlin, from Korea. That's the latest that we encountered there. People coming from Korea. Why do they do that? China, from Israel, from Lebanon, obviously from South America and Central America too. Okay, so it is a very excellent variety of water. Now, how did they start? Where did this thing start? Where there are a lot of legends in this. Okay. Well, when Christ Jesus was in Palestine, the Middle East, etc. He had 12 apostles, but actually those, when he died, they distributed the world among themselves to proselytize. One of them was actually Santiago, Saint James is called in English. And Saint James was assigned, or he assigned himself, actually to go to Hispania. At that time was under Roman control, and then later on, the Moors came from northern Africa, and actually they invaded Spain up to actually the. Can you go back to the map, please, for a moment, please? Yeah. Okay. Just to the northern part, you see that thick red line there? It's actually, that's the area that actually they were more or less stopped there. And then they start the different kingdoms in Spain, they start really pushing them south until they actually 1492, I think it was, the last time where actually it was liberated, call it what people call it, but actually the Spain actually became a Christian country. Otherwise, we will all be speaking Arabic, and we will be Muslims. But
Hi. Hi, baby. The upstairs. Can I have more coffee?
Can you please mute?
I muted the president.
Thank you.
My big achievement today.
we're supposed to have fun and all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Isn't that one of the things? So, that's good. So we have Spain, and actually, what is it? The pilgrimage was like Christianity actually started by going to basically Jerusalem and Rome. Those were the two places. I guess the people in Spain got a little bit jealous about it. So there was this farmer that found the remains of Santiago. Okay. And they built a church, and then start a town, and then a cathedral. And I love the place, by the way. It's you think that you're in the medieval times when you walk through the streets and all that. It's very, very, very good. By the way, I do not work for the Spain's tourist center. And Amri will not request anybody after this. But really, it's not something new that people those that pilgrimage. We have other pilgrimage with traditions. The Celts used to have that in northern Spain. One of the most famous one, obviously, is Slam, which is one of the requirements, one of the pillars of their beliefs, which is you have to do Hajj. You have to go to Mecca. One thing. One of the in Israel, there is one that starts in southern Israel and goes all the way to Jerusalem. I recommended it to a couple of my friends to make sure, see if they can become a little bit more holy. One that I have some friends also that have gone to this one in south of Tokyo. There is the this place, Kumano Kodo Trail, which is a Buddhist. People goes from one shrine to the other shrine. And then in Tibet, the southwest part of Tibet, there is a mountain that the Buddhists And I believe also some of the other beliefs in the area think that is the navel of the world. And they go around the mountain. Interesting enough, they have the very same challenges that the Camino has. You need infrastructure to support the people, to guide the people, to feed the people, and actually to give them a roof over their heads during the time that they're going around and do it. Very interesting. There's some obviously like almost everything now in life. Go to YouTube and you could find the very, very, very nicely. How did they go around this mountain, which is very cold, by the way? For a period of time, the Camino, there were a trickle of people going around to go to Santiago. But now in the 20th, 21st century, there's you might say, a desire to really walk. And by the way, I do think that it is very important to, if you have not to walk, it's very difficult to explain it. What is the walk and what does it do for you? It's individual. Obviously, the walk is yourself, you have to do it. There are places that you could go now to Rome, but usually it goes by plane. For the most part, I would say the majority, more than 99% of the people that goes to Santiago, they do a walk. They have to walk. By the way, they not only walking, there is a lot of people, particularly the Italians, they love to go on bicycles, which I think is tougher than actually doing the walk. You have you go by horse. I have seen them on now. You can go by horse, and there are facilities. You need an infrastructure to support the animals. Wow. We don't have to do that on the road. Now there is another method of transportation, which is by boat. Okay, many people that comes from England or from Ireland, they come by ferry to northern Spain, and then they go around the different sites by boat. Okay. So, have you seen the film? Oh, thank you. Have you seen the film The Way?
No.
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 No way, no way, they
No
will.
way. No way. By the way, it really doesn't, because words cannot explain it to it as to see it. And I strongly suggest to see it. You can find it for free. And that's, I believe, written by Emilio Esteves, and Martin Sheen, which is actually the main character of on the film. It's a very good sample of what you go through when you walk, when you go to Santiago, when you do the Camino, which is, as I mentioned before, many Caminos. Okay. Now, it is open to all religions, all persons. There is no, and I said, very frankly, yes, it was initially by the Catholic Church, the Christian Church. Actually, that started. But I have seen people, many walks of life. One of them that shocked me a lot, again, was a pilot from the US Air Force stationed in Germany. He had 2 days and then he walked. Brazilians should be interested in this. One of the dancers in the bandeirante, which is the person or the lady that has a very big skirt, actually just walks in front of the rest of the people that are marching on the in carnival time. It is, oh my God, what is this person doing here? So we find family, we find people, kids and all that. And why do they do it? Why is so special for people? What motivates them to actually, hey, I want to do this? And it could be maybe 5 days. It could be a month. It could be 2 months. It depends what the reason for it. Many reason, you might say, persons, they do it for somebody passed away, and I want to do it in their name. Sometimes I have noticed it with some kids from Germany. They finish college. They don't know what to do. College kids. They don't know what to do, and says, I want some time to think, to reflect on what I'm doing the rest of my life. So don't think that people will do it just for spiritual reasons. I would say nowadays, less than 25% probably do it for spiritual reasons. Most of them is also an adventure. It's a way to exercise, maybe to lose some weight. You can do that by walking the Camino. Seriously, and by the way, you will eat like you never had, and you will lose weight because it's the activity that you have. But the key is to be with people. With some people call it the family. I am with my Camino family. Camino family is the people that you have met. We greet each other when we're on the Camino, which is buen camino. Have a good walk, enjoy yourself. But it's people from all over the world, actually, and by the way, English is the most common language around. It's you would study Spanish, yes, but the people in the Camino, the people that come most parts of the world, they speak English to each other. That's the you might say the Esperanto, the language of actually the most common language. That's the way we communicate. Yes.
Yeah. What facilities are along?
While dedicating a month of your life to walk the Camino, maybe add.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are the supporting facilities? If 5 people, a family, want to walk and they're looking for their food, they're looking for restrooms, they're looking for places to sleep.
If you allow me to give me a couple of minutes, well, we're going to see that.
Okay.
And I will. That's exactly. I'll share that with you.
This was the big concern of my wife when we did the Camino. To be honest with you, to have the facilities.
And they organized a tour with St. Brendan's, and they had golf carts for the people that were lagging. And everything was like organized for them.
Yes.
Let's go ahead.
Dedicating
I'm sorry. This is a short, very short movie, 2 minutes, to walk through the Camino together.
a month of your life to walk the Camino may be admirable. It doesn't work for everyone. But any traveler can use this route as a sightseeing spine and as an opportunity to appreciate some of the joys and lessons that come with being a pilgrim. Just 5 miles before the Spanish border stands the French Basque town of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. Traditionally, Santiago-bound pilgrims would gather here to cross the Pyrenees and continue their march through Spain. Visitors to this popular town are a mix of tourists and pilgrims. At the Camino office, pilgrims check in before their long journey to Santiago. They pick up a kind of pilgrim's passport. They'll get it stamped at each stop to prove they walked the whole way and earned their Compostela certificate. Walking the entire 500-mile-long route takes about 5 weeks. That's about 15 miles a day with an occasional day of rest. The route is well marked with yellow arrows and scallop shells. The scallop shell is the symbol of both St. James and the Camino. Common on the Galician coast, the shells were worn by medieval pilgrims as a badge of honor to prove they made it. The traditional gear has barely changed. A gourd for drinking water, just the right walking stick, and a scallop shell dangling from each backpack. The slow pace and need for frequent rest breaks provide plenty of opportunity for reflection, religious and otherwise. For some, leaving behind a stone symbolizes unloading a personal burden. The first person to make this journey was St. James himself. After the death and resurrection of Christ, the apostles traveled far and wide to spread the Christian message. Supposedly, St. James went on a missionary trip from the Holy Land all the way to this remote corner of northwest Spain. According to legend, in the year 813, St. James' remains were discovered in the town that would soon bear his name. People began walking there to pay homage to his relics. After a 12th century pope decreed that the pilgrimage could earn forgiveness for your sins, the popularity of the Camino de Santiago soared. The Camino also served a political purpose. It's no coincidence that the discovery of St. James' remains happened when Muslim Moors controlled most of Spain. The whole phenomenon of the Camino helped fuel the European passion to retake Spain and push the Moors back into Africa. But by about 1500, with the dawn of the Renaissance and the Reformation, interest in the Camino died almost completely. Then in the 1960s, a handful of priests re-established the tradition. The route has since...
Okay. So I think Steve did a great job in actually the main things into it. Let me get back to the question of places to sleep and all that. The Camino reminds me sometimes when I was in the army, basic training anyway. Basic training, you live in bunk beds. You get up very early in the morning, sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, and you just sleep with other people in the room, maybe 40 people in there. By the way, some of the bathroom facilities are shared. I mean, people use this obviously towels and color themselves and all that, but male, female, actually in some of the places, they don't have separate facilities. They have the same facility. And Europe has a very, or at least my perception, they're very free about it. They don't care about dressing in front of you. So you have to get used to that. I would say that's one way of doing it. My wife and I, we have walked the Camino on various occasions, but we do not stay there because I think I need, in the middle of the night, I need some privacy. And I want to make sure that it's available. The toilet facilities. So we stay at guest houses, which doesn't cost that much. It's about $20, $25 or something like that. And some of them, they have a private bath. So it's for all questions. One thing that I should mention is that some people, they say, oh, well, I cannot carry a backpack. Well, you don't have to, if you don't want to.
That was my
There
question.
are facilities, there are services that actually carry and take it from one albergue, which is to the other albergue, or to a guest house or something like that. So they make it very convenient to be very friendly. Some people, I have seen some friends of mine, by the way, they're from Tel Aviv. They came with me in the Camino, and we would rent a car, and then we drive to the next town that we're going to see tonight, take a taxi back, and then walk. But there are facilities for everyone. So there are some people that actually they sort of like cheat and take the train or take a taxi along the way. But actually, I would say that's a very small percentage.
They don't get full forgiveness though, right?
Double team.
Yeah.
Double team.
But the main thing is now we could really simple the next 2 years or something like that. And it would be for free.
Clean it up a little.
We would do the community. Things. How do you actually orient yourself, which is the goal? And if you look at the left,
They look clean, are they?
I'm
Even
sorry?
the shared ones are clean.
Yes,
Ah, that's fantastic.
very, very. Those are the two symbols of the Camino. You follow them. Sometimes they're on the, actually of metal, actually in the sidewalk or on a tree. This sign to it, and yes, you could get lost, but most likely there's other people that will show you the way. If not the locals are, I give them credit because they have to put up with 400,000 people.
It's in beige. It's in beige.
Okay, before the pandemic. Now they're up to, I think it's
More.
two. No, no, they're up to, the last time, we look at the figure, it's about 180,000, I'm sorry, 380,000 now, which I'm surprised. Okay, so the volunteers office is recording a lot of people to actually to accommodate that. Okay. The one on the left, the bottom, is actually what I was mentioning about the army violence. That's what you see. And you always try, particularly with the older people like myself, that they give you the bottom bunk. So in the case that you fall off the bed, you don't have
Concussion.
Part of the, I'm sorry, you would say something?
Yeah, what is the best time of the year to go?
Not enough.
I mean,
You could do it all year long, but the days that I back is May through maybe the first, second week in October. Otherwise, you could get rain, which by the way, you walk in the rain, you get used to it. You have a raincoat, very simple poncho, and that is very doable. This way, maybe not as pleasant, but usually night is magnificent. The stars and yes,
It was mentioned it was a 5-week trip for the whole thing, but can you choose a week or 10 days? Or,
yes. Excellent question. You could do it actually in 1 week or 5 days. The requirement to obtain the certificate that you have accomplished the walk of the Camino is called a Compostela. And we'll see a copy in the next slide. And the Compostela is, the only thing that is required is 100 kilometers. Which is, there is a town called Sarria, which is very nice. Some people, they think that it's too tourist. I personally don't think so. But it's actually, you can walk from there, and actually it's 110 kilometers. You walk. You're walking with other people, and the infrastructure that allows you to, every time that you have, if you're tired, have a Coke and have a sandwich, a pan con tortilla, which means it's a tortilla sandwich. Okay. I'm sorry, my apologies. One thing that's, again, for the food that I wanted to mention is the fact that, and that's the one on the right, by law in Spain, people that have own restaurants, they have to provide menú del peregrino. And the menú del peregrino, very frankly, just by the first plato, which means the first course, actually you're full into it. In September, I was fascinated about this place that I went to because they would give you a bottle of wine for one person for me. And very frankly, I said, it's a waste to just even to open that bottle. Please leave it like that. So you have plenty of food. And there a drink. Some of the people, their own homes, they leave water, or they allow you to use their facilities if you need to when you are working. This is some of the very, very nice end to it. Okay. Yes, I'll do it. Let me see. Okay. one thing that is the passport, very important, is called la credencial. Okay, when you go to all these facilities, it'll be bar, restaurant. In Spain, a bar is not only drinking, it's primarily to eat. Okay, they have a stamp, and you stamp the credencial, which is your passport, and actually allows you to get into one of these albergues, which are very low price. Just so that people will not take advantage of that. Once you arrive in Santiago, you go to the tourist office, which is part tourist office, as well as Oficina del Peregrino, office of the pilgrims into it. That's what I work as a volunteer. when I do that. And we actually receiving people that might be ill or people that they just completed. You go through the passport to, and then issue the Compostela. Okay. I would say that one of the things that I like about it equalizes people. Everybody wears, they don't care about what the color of the pants or the ladies and the hairdos or the jewelry, no jewelry. People, everybody just very simple, the way they behave, they are, and very, very helpful of other people.
Very civic.
So, and they share, which is very important. It's not surprising somebody that is eating and said, please come, sit down with me into it. I would say that probably they will not do that in the city. They would do it in the country. So that is very significant of that. I do intend to go back to the Camino next year with my 11-year-old granddaughter. If anybody else wants to join us, we will be more than glad. Okay. Probably will be when the school is over with my granddaughter. But I will have other people that are interested, I will go with them. To be very frank, because I enjoy it. And actually, the trip is short, in 7 hours by plane to Madrid. And anyway, yes. Any questions?
Great presentation, Raul. So, we've approached the end of our hour, right? It's 8:30. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. I think we'll have to save up the happy dollars, or you can go ahead and give them anyway so that we can do our donations. And next week we'll have Patricia will be back here, I believe. Make sure you get your tickets for Halloween, Saturday.